Good morning. Right, Monday. I want to get on with the camper build. Before I do that, part 2 or phase 2 of this build is I've got to build these walls. So tomorrow we're going to get some plywood, we're going to get some battens, and this is now going to go out the front. Now I spent all morning with the wife cleaning the front garden up, hence the mower being out. We just need a storage. So what I've done is I've cleared all of that with the wife. We're going to move that scrap over to here because that's got to go down to the junkyard. Box is going to go in the bin, we ain't got rid of that yet. I'm going to lay 4 tyres down and we're just going to bring it out. Put some cloth on the tyres so I don't wreck the paint and lower on. This is a great fence to hide this from the public, so I'm not going to be doing any construction work in the sense of loud noises or any of that. All I plan to do is to put it here and then I'll take my measurements, go into the back garden, build everything else back up, and then when I've got all 5 walls then I'll screw them down. That way, permanent. I don't have to pull them off. I can then cut the checker plate, paint that all up, lay everything in situ as I go along. When we get to the roof line, I'll build the frame for the roof, which is going to go all the way around. We'll take that off once that's all glued, and we'll take that back in the back garden. We'll lay it out, we'll screw it down to the bench, and then we'll start the lift roof that I want to build for that. There we go, it is out here. So, what's next? Well, we've got to trim all that fiberglass up around the edges now, so I need to get the belt sander out for that. That won't take 2 minutes, just to get a nice edge for sealant all the way around. Then we've got to sand these all nice and flush. So again, sanders, quick going over, just make sure the joins work. We'll put a straight edge across as well, just so where the high and lows are. And then I've got to drill some big holes in the wood so I can access the metal, and then I've got to drill 10mm, 3 10mm there, 3 along there, probably 3 along there, 2 each side over there, and that will be for the 8mm pop nuts to go in. They need to be a 10mm hole. Once they've been done, and I'll only do that when I've got the wood that's going on, because I need to make sure the holes line up. I'm lazy when it comes to measuring, so I might get the odd one out. So there you go. Okay, so we've got everything home. Now, let me explain. I got bigger battens this time. I've run out of wood to chop myself. I've deliberately gone slightly wider on this because I want to cut an edge in. So when I put this against the plywood, it'll be a very tight fit. It'll be spray glued in. And don't get me wrong, that spray glue is terrible, but it'll do the job just for the time being. And then once I've spray glued it in, we'll cut the corners to a 45, straight across corner, so we can lock the corners together. Thus, like that. So we've just got the seam going down the middle, hopefully, and we can then put angle alley all the way up to the roof line, and then we'll meet that with some scruffy checker plate, which we'll wire brush back. So we've got to chop that into strips, it's nice and thin, that's what I like about that. These will have angles cut in, so when that goes in and stuck solid, we can glass fibre straight over the top. We are not putting a piece of plywood on the outside. Also, we've got to drill some holes on the bottom panel to be bolted onto the steel that we've already laid in. So we're going to put 3 on each side, holes, with a 10mm hole drilled with a pop nut, and then we'll drill through these, and then that'll be ready. There'll be a small piece of angle iron to spread the load of the bolt so I don't dig into the wood, and then we'll cut with a hole saw 3 holes on the inside walls. We'll put a piece of ply behind that and glue it, and then we'll drill another hole where that ply is, so as we have a lip so we can put the original cutout back on after the bolts have been done up. That way we can keep everything neat and tidy. This is going to take a while, and I'll be doing it in between rainstorms. 2 sides, Both of them are interior pieces. There you go, and this is the outside edge. So the plywood that you see underneath, which you don't see because I ain't got it turned over, is the inside edge. That was the cleanest. I don't think this wood is very good. They've cut it so close. You can see the other wood through the gaps. It's not very good at all, is it really? So I think we will do what we said we were going to do, and that is make up some separate panels out of hardboard and cover them in material, and then screw them. Okay, so we're going to let those dry off. Tomorrow morning we will measure 3 holes, and then we'll drill the holes in the framework, and then you'll understand why I mitered them, because all will come evident. Okay, pop nuts are in. I've actually used aluminium ones. And there's one simple logic behind it. I can't find the box of steel ones. So I've done one side. I'll nip over here now, sand all that side down, and then drill. But before I do that, I want to glue that piece of wood on. I want to cut hole saw out ready. I just want to get it all prepped, and I should screw and get the bolts through there. I'm just going to put washers in. Kind of decided what I'm going to do on that one. I had to take the wood off and relay it because I got it all wrong. Unfortunately, the usual rubbish from DIY stores. It's pretty bad stuff. You get what you pay for, right? Splits, glues are not holding. It is what it is. Well, I followed all the measurements. That saw, man, driving me nuts. The blade get hot at flex. A brand new blade, and I lost my line. Had to recut and then glue. Bloody thing. I'm not reviewing that, by the way. And it was B&Q doing Celotex, because that stuff is absolutely smack bang smooth. Unfortunately, this thing is full of ripples, rips, dents, you name it, it's got it. However, it is in. I did mismeasure, don't ask. So I've put a bit of polyurethane foam in the gaps just to try and take it all up. I've glued it with adhesive to the wood because I just need it to sit, so as when I put the glass fibre around it, it won't go popping up and down and all the rest of it, but I don't think the glue is taking very well. Oogie-doogies. Right, so I've shaved it. Sandpaper. This is a pain in the butt, this. I really wish that had gone a bit better, because now I've got to fill the whole thing because of that mistake. Had it just been one complete piece, the little ripple lines could have stayed and it wouldn't have been too bad, but now I've got to fill here. As soon as I filled here, it means I've then got to do all the way along there, and so we'll see how that pans out at the end of it all. So I'll just wait. I've done the outside edge. I've just trimmed it while it was in its gel state. Pair of scissors, because you can do that. You do need to be careful, because it will easily peel off. That won't be dry until tomorrow, unfortunately. We've got rain coming, and I don't know what to do, because if I move it, that might peel, because it's still very, very gel. It'll take a good 2 hours for that to go into the cure state where I can move it. Right, a new day. Excuse me. Sanded it all back. Unfortunately, there are areas that are slightly thicker than other areas which are going to need a little bit more sanding. But that's now ready to overlay the next one. Now I put that one in, one because I knew I'd be sanding this back, and as always those edges are always the thinnest point on a fiberglass build where you go around corners, especially if you're sanding that area down. So the other reason for sanding it is I want it smooth, so when I do put the last sheet on, it'll not create too many cavities and won't be too bad. Now I should do this out of one large piece, but I doubt very likely I will, because well, it depends on the weather. I mean, this took 24 hours to cure, whereas when the hot weather was here, 3 hours and it was done, ready to sand. I woke up this morning to sand this down, and some of the areas were still a bit jelly, a bit sticky, mainly around this area here, which was the last bit I did. But never mind, it's sanded back now, so that will go back in the shed. I need not do no more to this for a day or two, because now I've got to get the other one out. Oh, what a balls up. Wife's gone at the tool station, she's getting me a can of spray foam. That's the only way. I think there's one or two ways I can pull that back. That blue line that I've scribbled on there and it's rough, that's how far that has to come out, because I am half an inch almost smaller on this panel than I am on that panel, and I don't know how the hell I managed to do it. As I said to you earlier, it is so imperative that you get these smack on. There's two ways around this. I can cut that one down gently, which probably won't go well, never does with me, or I can cut a strip on a table saw, which would be easier, and add a strip. Well, by doing that, it now means I've got to bring that foam out a little further, but I didn't cut the foam properly because I can't find my freaking saw. The boy used it last. Of course I'm going to blame somebody else. It wouldn't be logical to blame myself. And I don't know where he's put it, but the truth of the matter is I probably picked it up myself, chucked it on the bench, and it fell on the floor, and I wouldn't know where it is. So I ended up using a kitchen knife. It didn't go well. I didn't want to use that. I didn't like using it the last time. Those particles get in your throat, man, they flipping horrible. So I just decided the best thing was to sand it back after. However, I didn't cut it properly in the first place, because that was supposed to overlap the piece of wood. So the only thing I can do, one of two things, is fill it with spray foam, let it blow out at the edge as much as I can allow it, and then recut it. That might work. Or the other one is cut a piece of wood and literally glue it straight on that edge going up an angle, and then with a belt sander sand it back level with the poly board, and then glass over the top, and then extend the baseline at the bottom. That's the only thing I can think of without having to start all over again. I don't mind starting all over again, but the financial implications is not good, because I don't have any more wood. That was it, and I can't do nothing until next week if I have to start all over again. So if we can do it, we're gonna repair it. I ain't got a clue if I can pull that round, but I've spray foamed, I've wiped it back, I've let it froth up again, and then I've wiped it back more. And I mean, it's really high dense stuff now. It's really hard from doing that. The only thing that I can really hope for now is when I put the sander over it, I'm going to try it with the knife first to get some kind of shape, and then I'm going to run the sander over the top, because it's so hard it might do quite well. So I won't know until I try. The idea worked. So that is nearly a centimetre over the edge. This panel is now the same size as this panel. That's the top, and I've extended it, so that's the top. No, that's the top. So that, when I've added that piece of wood to the bottom, should now be equal. Because as I said, that's over a centimetre over the edge. What I did is I sprayed it in the gaps, let it blister up, and I left it for about a minute, and then I got the scraper and started pushing it and moulding it. And as I was doing it, it was mixed, so the air molecules, or whatever you want to call them, were disappearing, so it was then turning into a very sticky paste, and I was able to pull it in and shape it, and then with some water and a wet roller managed to roll it, and then I put a secondary coat over the top to blow it up, and then with the roller again and a piece of wood, rolled and pushed with wood to get the shape I want. So it's denser. I don't want the big air bubbles, I want all the small ones. And there you go, that is what I've achieved. So the beauty of it is now is I can, once I've straightened that line up, I'll have to put a bit of metal across and draw a line so I can sand to that line, because as we've discovered on that one, it's not an easy thing to keep when you glass it up. We'll then roll in a load of matting all the way around and see if we cannot salvage this. Okay then, so own up, who thought I couldn't turn that around? Come on. I know I did. I didn't think I could turn it around. Huh? Don't get me wrong, the line's not perfect, and there's a lot of filler work going to be done on this one more than the other. But as things go, it's definitely without a doubt better than it was. So now I need to screw on the extension. So I'm just going to put one whole piece of wood on there and let the glue dry off over the next hour or more. Gently turn this thing over, and then get the circular saw, God forbid, and saw it. So I've sanded to the line as best as I can. Don't get me wrong, it's still bumpy. I mean, you've just got to look at that bit there to see how bad some of this is. But look, it is way better, way better than it was before. And what we'll have to do, I ain't got no choice in the matter, we will have to put some filler on. So that's the second one done. I love the idea of what I've done with this board, but bloody hell, it is a long-winded way of doing it. But it is significantly lighter than the way I was doing it previously, because I was going to have to put loads of ribs in, because the foam filler on a space that big just wouldn't have the structure in it to be able to keep everything solid. The walls would have been thinner, definitely, but they would have been heavier, a lot heavier. Now all I've done is two pieces of wood there, one there, 1.5 over there, because I messed up on this one, and it is significantly lighter than what I anticipated it to be if done the other way. And the reason why I layered these edges up first, twofold. One is to hold this into position, and secondly, the more strength I can get on that ridge there, the better. So by having this already in place, when I lay the next lot up to go over the top, which will come to this edge here, this effectively will act as a girder, especially for the top, which will put no end of strength into these panels, therefore not needing any strengtheners going through the middle. And that's pretty much the reason behind that. I've had to put the battery on here because the wind is strong. The wind keep trying to lift it off the table. It is that light. So that's both of them done. As far as I can take them, I don't have enough resin to cover both of them. I definitely don't have enough filler. So that's as far as I can take these two for the moment. Now, my son has got some wood in his garage he don't want, so I'm going to head off to Stowmarket direction today and pick up a load of, I don't know if it's 4x4s or 4x2s, I really don't know what they are, and I'm going to attempt to cut them down on my table saw to a decent length. I'm not going to be picking them up till close to 3 o'clock anyway, and we'll load them up, we'll bring them home, we'll get the table saw out later, and we'll slice them all up into usable, accessible battens to make up the rear door space. And once I've done the rear door space, we can then move on to the back bulkhead, which is going to require this window to be fitted in it. So we've got to batten around that, got to find a jigsaw that works. I don't think I've got any blades, so we've got to do that. No, I've got no choice. We've got to do that. We need that window. That one's going to get spray foamed. If there's enough of this square foam, the two that are going on the back near the door will have a piece of that put in, just because I can. I'm not sure that's a wise thing to do because I don't know how it's going to look, but I am after that rugged off-road look. So that's why I'm doing it. The other thing I'm a little concerned about is they're going to get bed lined like the rest, and I would love to put some writing on the side of this, and I've got a name for this, an adventurer pod, and I'd like to be able to put that on there somehow. So a backing of army colour, like a splodge of army colour paint, and an adventurer, and then pod written underneath it, because pretty much what it is, isn't it? But I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that at the moment, so we're going to look into that one. That's a little more complicated than it really needs to be, because anyone who's tried to paint over bed liner will know it ain't easy. So what I might do is when I hit that area of bed line, I might really thick it up so it goes smooth almost, which will allow me to draw on it, and then in the area where I've done it, I'll draw around with a marker and then paint the army colours in there as a backing for the lettering. The lettering will be in red or bright yellow or something. I'm just thinking about it at the moment. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to do it. So I can't do any more. There's nothing more I can really show you at the moment. Apologies if you were hoping to see that trike build, but no. I pretty much got called thick as shit by this subscriber that came in. I didn't appreciate that, nobody would. Bearing in mind I've got at least 10 trikes to my name that have been successful, including the ones that I've had to rework and repair for other people. One of which made best painting competition. I don't think he has fully watched my channel. I think he just literally jumped in on that video and mouthed off about my abilities, and well, I didn't appreciate that one little bit. I thought, the guy, you don't know me, so sod off, leave the channel, I don't want you here. Mr. Powell, go away. So yeah, I will quietly get on with that in the background. I might film some of it, but I might actually just put that up as one massive episode, whether I build it into a trike or whether I put it back as a motorcycle and sell it. One way or the other, what I do might be one episode. I won't deny I'm finding that one a difficult thing to do, but I know I can do it. It's mainly down to cost, and it might be cheaper to get a shaft driven machine, because I would like to tow a trike behind my truck, so when we end up at campsites I can unhook it and jump on it and go and enjoy the countryside for like next to no money. Victory Vegas, I think they do about 30 to the gallon, so that's a Ford Transit van type experience with the fuel. So it's not the cheapest, so I am thinking about it. But yeah, Michael, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but the wife won't let me sell it to you because she's worried you kill yourself on it. So you can't have it, sorry. And if I'm honest, I want it out of Ipswich anyway. I don't want to be staring at it being ridden around. That's, if I do sell it, I'll be quite heartbreaking. I'll let it go. So guys and girls, more wood to come, more process to come. But today I'm afraid nothing more I can show you. So I think I'm going to upload this video, part 1 of phase 2. Thank you for all your likes and shares, and I'll see you next week where we do the door frame panels and we do the rear bulkhead, and then hopefully we'll have enough money to glass this all over, the whole lot, and maybe even put some bed liner on it, but I ain't holding much hopes on the bed liner at the moment. It's £23 a can. I reckon it's about 3 cans to do all the panels. It's not a cheap way in doing it, and I've got to buy the colour to go with it as well. That whacks the price up massively. The grey works really well, but if I'd done it black, I would have got it a standard black, and it would have been 23 quid a can and no more extras on top. But the paint colour that I'm using has put an extra expense, and I think it's about 10 quid a can for 200 mil or something. I don't know, it's not cheap, but I know this thing is going to look good when it's done, hopefully, if I don't cock it up and rush it. I'm taking my time. Anyway, next week, see you later.